I
Yeah.
saw. I've been trying to keep track a little bit of what's going on Instagram. Like whenever you post one of your videos, because it looks like a man who's put like a little bit of thought into a video idea. It is funny though. It's funny how deceptive a good background can make someone look so organized. I'll watch podcasts and I'm like, man, this is a legit podcast. And then I realized, no, they don't just have a photo of Elvis and like the side of Bob Dylan's head in the background. They've got something which is actually an organized and structured studio, not just a spare
It's
room.
a set.
It's a
set
set.
piece. Should I be transparent and flip around and show like what my setup behind is?
Show us what you're working with.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I haven't done a podcast in over a year, but I'm like, it's really echoey in here, and I've even like put stuff on the floor to it's timber floors in here. So I'm like, I better. But look, it's all an illusion.
Man, I felt better the other day because I've been watching Theo Von a little bit lately, like a lot of people. I love Theo Von, man. Did you hear his episode with Dana White?
No, but I can imagine. He's just so endearing. Like, he'll come out with something super intelligent and super stupid in the same sentence.
Oh, the funniest example of that was he was talking, like he was opening up to Jordan Peterson a while ago about how he feels socially awkward. And did we talk about this the other night?
No.
He feels socially awkward. And Jordan Peterson's like, yeah, well, like what social awkwardness is an over focus on yourself. Yeah. He goes, next time you feel socially awkward, just stop and think about, hey, what am I thinking about now that's making me feel socially awkward? And Theo's like, dude, I can already tell you, like a lot of the time I'm there in a conversation, I'm thinking, oh man, everyone can see one of my legs is longer than the other. I'm all lopsided. But then he had Dana White on his podcast. Did you say you had or you haven't heard that one?
No, I haven't seen that one, no.
So you got to listen to it. So Dana White, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with him, the main man behind UFC, and he just does not give a shit. Like, he does not play by the rules. Yep. He's not worried about winning over the media. He's not worried about, like, the mainstream or his public perception in that area, and I love him for it. But Theo was talking to him about that, and he's going, dude, I respect so much the fact that you don't seem like the kind of guy who will curtail what you believe in order to appease the mob. And he's like, dude, like classic example, this is Dana. He's like, classic example was throughout COVID, I made a decision. I'm not laying anyone off. Either we're all going down together or we're all making it through. And he goes, yeah, but like, how do you deal with sponsors who are unhappy with the way you operate your business? Obviously, Dana goes, you want to know what I tell them? I tell them, if you're not happy with me, pay me what you owe me and fuck off and never call me. And Theo's like, oh, dude, I love that. He's like, I've actually been having trouble with a couple of sponsors myself. Theo's like, what happened? He goes, well, Dana's like, what happened? He goes, I had an interview with RFK and a particular company contacted me saying, we need you to take that episode down. Otherwise, we can't work with you. And Theo was like, it's a Friday afternoon. I was so pissed off. And Dana's like, who was the company? And Theo's like, it's this company called Peloton. It's a stationary bike company. And Dana goes, you know what? Peloton is the main bike in our UFC gyms. And because of that, and he calls the bloke in who runs the UFC gym. I don't know if it was one or multiple, like live on the podcast, because it was recorded at the UFC offices by the look of it. The guy comes into the studio and Dana goes, oh, is it Peloton who has their bikes in our gyms? And the guy's like, yeah. Dana's like, take them all out today, throw them in the bin. We've got nothing to do with that brand. I want nothing to do with them. Like, fuck. And Theo's like, yeah, man. Yeah, fuck Peloton, man. Fuck Peloton, man.
All of a sudden.
And you can just see throughout
the
course.
It's like when you're a kid and you're hanging out with somebody that's 10 years older than you and you're about to get in a fight. And all of a sudden you got this false confidence because you got someone that's 6'2" and you're like 5'0". Like, yeah.
Like... Literally, my mate that I'm going to catch up with for coffee after this jocker, he's 6'4", and I've actually, because I was a smart ass in school, obviously, because I was a distance runner. So as long as no one could catch me in the first 100 meters, I was safe. Yeah. And the amount of shit I spoke to a number of guys. There's this one guy, Hugh, I think his name was. And like he actually came at me one day and Jocker stepped in front and I was like, I'm so glad I have a bloke with a body this big to stand up for me because I'd be a dead man. But it's exactly what it was like watching Theo just navigate his way through that and seeing his confidence rise. It's so hard not to. Like when you got a bloke like Dana who's so successful and just does not give a shit, just barking orders at what you should be doing. Oh man, I was cheering for him in my car as well.
It's that whole, I know it's a bit overdone now. It's that, be undeniable at what you do. And it gets to a point where you're just like, cool, I don't need to. It's not stressing. Rogan's another classic example. I think his first sponsor was the what's that fat thing? Yeah. It was like a sex toy thing. Doesn't care. And now it's at a point, same thing, where it's just like, doesn't matter. Okay, you don't like me. That's cool. That's okay.
There's so many different, because you could not get more stark contrast between a bloke like Joe Rogan and Theo Von. It's so weird how there's so many podcasts that work. Like you look at a bloke like Theo, and dude, he's funny. He was sitting in the interview. Who was he? This was with Tucker Carlson, your doppelganger, at least in personality. And I mean that with nothing but respect. I loved the 100%. Whole interview. I was listening to him go, this is Brendo.
His whole last year is wild, by the way. Start saying that the JFK assassination was an inside CIA job, and all of a sudden, it was Fox's #1 program. And they're like, nah, you're out. That. Not the COVID stuff, not anything else. Touch on that, you're sacked. At his peak. Anyway.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him on X, which still feels ridiculous to call it on X. It's very like there's obviously been a shift. I reckon you look at the public perception of a bloke like Tucker Carlson. I think anyone who's being half honest and has actually sat down and listened to him for 15 minutes knows he's an incredibly smart guy.
Yeah.
From what you can tell, he seems incredibly open and honest. Like he's not going to bullshit you on purpose. Yeah. And it's very strange just to watch that dynamic between mainstream media and like independent media at the moment. Because with so many people like him, who is the man behind Fox, like the man that was bringing in the ratings, as you just said, when he decides to leave and run his own show and Twitter shows the numbers that at least tune in or scroll past an episode, I don't know how many hundreds of million it was, or like 80, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But to see the amount of people that he's actually drawing to a platform like that, surely other companies start to wake up and go, all right, well, maybe all this shadow banning is
And it's exactly back to your point about, with the story with Dana and Theo around Peloton, is these companies that virtue signal to try and get a quick sale, which is what it is. Like, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but my favorite example of this is BMW, right? For Pride Month a couple of years ago, changed the BMW logo to Pride logo. And a bunch of people called them out going, cool, why don't you update that in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, like in some of the Arab countries, why don't you update your logo to the Pride logo there as well?
It's such a good point.
You can't do that. It's like, well, do you actually care, or is it just a crock? Oh, it's a con. Sorry, it's a con. It's hey, look over here. But I think you're right. I think people they just had a gut full of it. I think I don't know if you saw the clip of Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson walking in with Dana White to the UFC a couple of weeks ago with Kid Rock. Sorry. And everyone was just going, oh, it was wild. It's just like, but then the media's like, it's something shifting.
Yeah, I hope so. It's weird. Like that example with BMW is a really interesting example because I would respect a company like BMW more if they actually did. Like if they 100%. Did, if they believed in it so much, like, hey, change your flag, but do it universally. Like, so to go to your point, like we know it's in the name of a quick sale, but it is weird because there's a lot of people, and I guess this is what I was trying to sort of hint at when I was talking about Tucker Carlson. You see the numbers of people that come with him from Fox to Twitter. Like, I rejoined Twitter as a little hat tip to Elon and what he's doing, but also because people like Tucker have decided to go down that route and just share their own version of the news through their own show without all the bureaucracy behind it. But you'd think with the amount of numbers, like surely there's some incentive for companies to actually take the non-woke route anymore. I know it's actually funny how much it's shifted the story around Bud Light now. I don't know if you know that Bud Light's become the major sponsor of the UFC for the next 6 years. Right. Did you hear that? And I heard that and I was like, oh no, what is going on here? Like I was quietly celebrating their downfall after the Dylan whatever that guy's name. And what is his name?
McElvain?
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, McElroy was the tennis player, wasn't he?
McElroy.
One of them.
But Theo and Dana were talking about that, and they both gave me a tune-up because Dana's like, I'll tell you why I'm going to support this company. He goes, first of all, they gave 2,500 personalised cans that day, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Cool. Second of all, they hire 65,000 Americans
Yeah.
Like, so to celebrate the downfall of the companies, to celebrate like the loss of jobs to American people. And I was like, oh, whoa, I did not even think of that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing he said was just talking about, you know, what Americans like with how much love and support they give their veterans. I don't know if that's like a true universally, but I know it seems to be a whole lot more respect for veterans over there than what you get here in Australia. Like, it's more of a tradition thing. And him talking about how much Anheuser-Busch gives towards veterans each year, I was like, okay, well, far out. I forgot how short-sighted I was. It's so hard not just to get caught. I noticed this. Like, I'll get caught in like the buzz of it, sort of like the GameStop story where you just get pumped to see something fall apart. And I was watching Bud. I was like, you'll get stuff. And it was kind of nice. The reason I liked it was the same reason I liked the fact that Australia voted no to the referendum. It was like, I just feel as though we're just taking a little tiny bit back from the actual leftists. It's nice to see some people stand up and vote with their feet a little bit more and go, all right, well, I don't know. Like, I just feel like those leftist, loud, purple-haired, like fat chicks for the last 8 years have dominated the conversation. I'm just so overhearing their voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an interesting segue that you bring up. I had, in the lead up to the vote here in Australia, I had in the 2 weeks leading up to it. And, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm trying to be as objective as anything and trying not to let my bias of looking at the super left stuff and looking at all the celebrity endorsements, this celebrity saying yes, this celebrity saying yes. And I'm just like, ugh. My natural inclination is just to swing to the opposite side of that. I'm like, no, that's also not helpful. That's not healthy. Okay, well, I'm going to try and literally block out as much of the noise from both sides and just kind of have a look at it myself and look at it with my own eyes and work through it logically. And you know, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, yeah, recognition of the Constitution. Okay, yeah, look, that's I can't believe that's not a thing already. That should, like, okay, but they can vote. Okay, sure, look, that I get. Through the voice, I'm like, oh, hang on, what's that? And then trying to look into that and trying to get the details of that, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, voices are good. And I think one person, I can't remember, it was John Anderson, said we've had lots of voices, and now's not the time for talking; it's for listening. What we need is ears, and then hands doing. And that was my main initial concern was just like, okay, so what's stopping the government from just ignoring this advice and ignoring the advice of the committee? Because, hey, I worked for a university for a spell. Committees, they are not always effective, helpful, or pragmatic in getting stuff done. So I'm like, man, okay, look, try to look in more detail, and then in that week leading up to it, had 2 Indigenous people come through the bar at ideal times where it was actually nice and quiet. So I got to pick their brain on a little bit and ask what their thoughts were. Both of them. One was a hard no straight off the bat. It's like, mate, government's told us stuff before. They never follow through. They're full of shit. Why are we trusting them now? What's different? Nothing. They're the same Muppets. What are they going to do for us out here? It's all your ones living in Canberra. Like, it's good for them. They'll just talk. No, nothing will change. I'm over it. They've conned us before. This just sounds like another con. I'm like, okay. I was getting that impression, but I'm not in his shoes. So I was finding it hard to really kind of go, well, I'm feeling this, but I'm not in their shoes. But and then this other lady came in and she was on the fence. And then as we're talking, and I actually had somebody else sitting at the bar that was another Frankston boy like myself, and he was a hard yes. He was like, nah, we've done them wrong and we just need to fix it. So this is the way. We just need to just say yes, because I don't have a right to say no because, of the terrible things that have happened. And I'm like, and she went, that's bullshit. And he was like, hang on, what? Really taken aback. And then she was walking through sort of her journey with it. And one of the little things that we kind of came to in like understanding what was being proposed is that, and this is my metaphor of it. It's like, have you ever bought a car and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's great. It's a good car. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah, so ever been written off? Oh, what are these T's and C's down the bottom? Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Sorry, what's the interest rate on, like, is it, hang on, it was all these little things that they were just like, hang on a minute. This seems like the fine print that could come back and bite us in the bum down the track. Mm. And, definitely in the zeitgeist of Australia at that point in time, if you even were flirting with the idea of, no, you're a racist, was the perception is like, oh, are you saying that they're going to take away our land? I'm like, no. I'm saying if this is a deal, or the way I put it was, when I was working for the university, We were part of the student association. So we were funded directly by the students' funds, not through HEX, but through an actual fee that students had to pay. So every proposal that I had to put together, whether it was orientation week or a club event or something like that, every dollar that I spent was highly scrutinized. And every plan I put it forward had to have clearly stated how this was going to benefit students, what students, how many, and the impact it was going to have. And I had to map that out to be able to get that approved 12 weeks in advance. And I'm looking at the voice, and I'm like, if I had to submit that to my old boss, it wouldn't get passed.
Yeah.
There was not like, and that's the lens that I ended up looking at it with, is like, if I was in the position where I had to be responsible for somebody else's funds, for somebody else's well-being and benefit them, does this plan hold water? And I looked at it with that lens, and I'm like, there's some big we'll figure it out. It's like, that's not the way to go about something that's been, historically mismanaged time and time and time again. So,
dude, it's so funny just walking around here. So Point Lonsdale, I've never seen an Aboriginal in this town in my whole life. But the amount, I'm not kidding, like the amount of yes signs on the mansions all around us, it just made me laugh so much. And I used to, I'll send you this clip later. Have you seen that Chasers War on Everything clip from like 2005 where they go to some castle or they go to some big private property and at the front it says, "We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land."
No.
And they ring the bell, the staff come out, they've got like 5 or 6 Aboriginal people with them. And the guy comes out and he's like, "Oh, can I help you?" He's like, "Oh, yep, just let you know, this is our land. Could you just open the gate for us?" And they're like, "I beg your pardon?" He's like, "No, we are the Wurundjeri tribe. Like that's us. This is our land. Thank you for the acknowledgement. We're just going to come in and are you right with that?" And the guy's like, "I don't think you're allowed to. I think that's more just a recognition of whose land it is." And it's that classic old, it's like, we stole your bike. We acknowledge it used to be yours, but it's mine now. And so don't touch it. And what
we'll do is we'll set up a committee that can give us advice on what we can do, or maybe if you want to borrow it every other weekend, as long as we're not using it, then you can, if Susan approves.
Yeah.
But if Susan doesn't approve, well, it's guys, we listened and we took your advice on board. But Susan, who's actually in the opposition party, she didn't approve it, so it's all her fault that we're not listening to you.
Yeah. I'm just so sick of that big bully, like whoever it is, whether it's government or just some committee or some group of people, just bullying people into. Like, it's so easy just to call someone a racist, or it's so easy just to call someone a. Like, I get angry at Jess whenever we're having an argument. She's like, "Well, I'm sorry you're offended by that." I go, "Well, no, it's not just about me being offended by it. Like sometimes it was the way that it was delivered. You can't." And it's like, when someone's tired or someone's being grumpy, and you're like, "Oh, like." Are you tired or something? You're grumpy. Like you put them in this little box, and all of a sudden they've naturally just got to fight their way out, and it makes you more angry.
Yeah.
It was, if I was talking to someone about it, and they would go, "Oh, like this didn't happen," but just for the sake of argument, they go, "Oh, so you're a racist?" You go, "Well, how do I speak to you now?" Because if that's where you perceive me, like obviously, bro, Jesse had
such a good. So you go.
No, so I was just going to say Jesse had the best experience. So. The worst experience. I won't say names because I don't want to make it any more awkward in case who the person was happens to come across this podcast, because, far out. So Jessie was up at night for a couple of nights and she was getting fiery about this whole yes-no vote. She wanted to vote no. She was sick of the name calling. She's like, "All right, I'm going to go down and I'm going to actually just work on the no booth on the day. I'm going to speak to people about why I'm voting no, blah, blah, blah." She came home. She did it. I go, "How was it?" She goes, "Good, apart from a couple of people." She goes, and she said to me, she goes, the most intense, I had one lady come up to me. She's like, "I recognized her. I don't know exactly where I recognized her from. She was local." She goes, and she just ripped me to shreds. She's like, who are you? I've just got back into this country and I can't believe we're about to vote no. Like, who are you people? This is disgusting. Anyway, she went and voted, came out, and she's like, "Also, did you put that no sign up on the fence across the road? Blah, blah, blah." And Jessie was like, "Man," she goes, "Oh, if I ever see that lady downtown again, I'll point her out to you, just so you know." It was so awkward. Anyway, that's one part of the story. Next part of the story, I won't name the brand because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but it's a really well-known brand here in Australia, international. They were looking for some, so friends of ours at church are mutual friends with the person who runs this company. they said we're looking for a couple of little kids, little surfy looking kids. We want them just to be in the photos, get a gift voucher, blah blah. Jessie's like, 100%. Like if friends from church need us to help out, sounds like fun. She was getting a bit of free product. I'll do it. So Jessie took the kids down. They were going to be little models for this brand for the day. Jessie walked in. So it was a photo shoot. She's going to be there for 4 hours. It was literally, so it's the owner of the company. There's a few of the marketing, a few of the photographers. Jessie walked in with Ollie. It was Charlie wasn't there. She walked in, got taken to the room. One of the ladies who was looking after her was like, "Oh, just over there is such and such. This is her company." Jessie looked at such and such and was like, "Oh, it's the chick who just ripped me to shreds at the." And so Jessie was sitting there. She's like, "I was just praying that this chick would just not recognize me." She walked in, didn't recognize her. The lady kept saying to her, "Oh, you look so familiar. I've seen you somewhere before. I know you from somewhere." And Jessie was like, "Yeah. And she goes, "But they got on like a house on fire." She goes, without that tainted image of what it was that she was supporting. This is what I struggle with as well, is like when you have a highly politicized topic like that, it's so, I often struggle, like through COVID, I struggled so much to like have a friendly conversation with like a passionate vaxxer, because I was like, you're just, in my head, I was like, oh, so you're an idiot, But then time passes on and I look at those same people now and I'm like, oh, you're actually a legend. I've had so many moments with people at comedy where I'm like, oh, dude, you're a lovely person. And Dana White said this the other day. He goes, I don't give a shit about what someone believes politically. Like, I think it was him. He goes, my only measurement for whether I'll have time for you is, are you a douchebag or are you a good person? And I'm like, oh, that's the attitude I need to take. Because like the idea of losing friends because they completely disagree with something I believe politically just seems like I would have no friends left really quickly. And then when you actually take the emotion out, you're like, oh, there's so many legends who completely disagree with me and vice versa.
Yeah, I've got a couple of regular customers at the bar that were pretty ostracized during COVID because they were labeled anti-vaxxers, and they're some of my best customers. They're there most days of the week, come in, have a couple of pints of lager and head home in the afternoon. And I've had other customers come in the evening and go, if I see so-and-so and so-and-so sitting at the front, I don't come in here. I'm like, oh, how come? Oh, they're dirty anti-vaxxers. They're anti-vaxxers. I'm like, it's 2023, yeah? I was so taken aback. I'm just like, okay. Like, yeah. What do you want me to do? Tell them, hey, that person doesn't like you. And I actually said to the person, like, well, it's a good thing the whiskey doesn't care.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, what? I'm like, oh, it just wants to be drunk. Like, the beer just wants to be drunk. Like, I'm a bar. I'm not a court. I'm not. I'm a bar. People are welcome. Everybody's welcome. Even you. Just don't be a dickhead. Same rule. Yeah. Like, just anyone's welcome in my bar. Just don't be an arsehole. That'll get kicked out. Hey, I've had, there's only one time I had to step in and get them to simmer down because the conversation got a little bit heated between these people and some others in the bar because it started getting a little bit nasty. Well, okay. Hope everyone's ready. So no, they look, they do have some other fun ideas. But the first one I encountered that took me back was that the Freemasons were the first ones to land on the moon and play golf. I'm like, okay, that's a good one. Okay, hadn't heard that one. Appreciate it. Then Flat Earth. That one I wasn't really surprised about. The one that got me, though, and that actually started this intense argument was that aeroplanes run on compressed air, like an air canister, because fuel is too heavy for the wings. So airplanes run on air compressors. We had an ex-Navy guy in there that was a pilot. He's like, not true. Oh, and then the whole like Antarctica is like the ice wall at the end of the planet type thing. He's like, no, I was stationed down there 6 months at a time for 3 years. Like I've been there. It's definitely not an ice wall. And the conversation got that's where it started getting a little bit nasty, and I had to kind of go, okay, guys, let's bring it back down to.
I feel like nastiness. Like if it's so funny, man, because I can just tell there'd be so many people listening to this because the flat Earth thing is one that's starting to get a bit more traction, isn't it?
So much more traction.
I was with a friend the other day, so a mutual friend of ours, Joash, who is a great guy to talk to about this stuff because Joash is like, if you're ever going to call someone a conspiracy theorist, he's the man you give a title to. And I say this with nothing but respect. I love the guy. I love having him at a house. I love having conversations with him. And he'll tell you straight up that people are going to view him as a conspiracy theorist. But the problem is the problem that people face is you know how some people are so, like, you're so well researched, and no matter what someone throws at you, if you're not equally as educated about their topic and about like your counter to that topic, you can make yourself look like a dick real quick.
Yep.
I've never, and here's where I said, I personally don't give a shit if the Earth's flat. That's what I've realized.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's flat. I don't care if it's round. I kind of like the idea of the Earth being flat just because I feel like the creation story, it makes me feel more significant, makes me feel like, all right, if I'm God's only created and there's no other life out there, then we're really important. I like it for that reason.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if I'm being lied to about that, go for it. I'm trying to write funny jokes. I'm trying to look after my family. I don't really care about the shape of it. Isn't it funny though? Like there's certain topics, man's trip to the moon, the Freemasons playing golf up there, the flat Earth, 9/11 was an inside job.
Chemtrails, fluoride, mind control.
And then, I'm like, is there, like, I'm not disregarding everything. And it's hard sometimes when you just throw it like the baby out with the bathwater. Like if the spectrum's here and if absolute crazy is that the world is flat and a little bit crazy is that like the fluoride's messing with your brain or whatever, like where is some sense of reason? But it's interesting when you get people who are just balls deep in this topic. But the other thing is it's so hard to keep up with like how quickly things change because the same people that were experts on the topic of COVID and Russia versus Ukraine and now the experts on Israel and Palestine. And they go, hang on a second, like I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Like I'm still trying to figure out who I'm going for out of Russia and Ukraine. Do you know what I mean? What do you mean I have to figure out Israel and Palestine now? And dude, don't tell me I'm smarter than Ben Shapiro. I listened to Ben Shapiro talk about it and I'm like, surely he's right. Like that has to be right. And then Candace Owens, she comes out. I don't know if you've heard the beef between them, but Jesse was trying to give me a little update yesterday. Oh, I actually don't know that much, but I don't know whether this is true. Apparently, it looks as though, from what I've heard, like Candace Owens might be stepping away or being fired from the Daily Wire. I don't know. Like I could just be talking shit here, so don't take it too seriously. But I think some of it had to do with her take on like the Israel versus Palestine war. Like obviously Ben Jewish, like super pro-Israel. And she's like, no, but you're just being so emotional about this that you're not actually giving any reasonable thought to the other side of the argument. That's not what she said. That's just sort of like a very surface level breakdown. But anyway, I don't really know. But Jesse, who follows Daily Wire fairly closely, was like, oh man, like it looks like there might be some beef in amongst I don't know, bro. Yeah, it's interesting times, that's for sure.
Oh, and so tired. I just like you said, like you just said, you just want to tell jokes, tell funny jokes. And
Let me tell you a funny joke.
I think often, and I know this is a gross generalization, but everybody else does it, so I'm allowed to. That when our small world, small life, family, job, that immediate circle of influence seems, I don't know, mundane, boring, or can't be solved or can't change, that so often as humans we then project our frustrations onto bigger problems that are completely out of our control and sometimes have nothing to do with us at all, and we become super passionate about it because whether we're bored in our life, stagnant, or have problems that we can't solve in our own world, is we try and solve everybody else's problems as some, I don't know, attempt at controlling something in our life. Maybe it could be, I'm not sure. But I think I just wonder how much that plays a part in it. That we're so saturated with so much information around the world now. We've got so much access and updates and everything that it's really easy to get distracted from what really matters and what's really close to us by stuff that, honestly, I'm sad for what's happening in Israel and Palestine. But holy shit, me having a stance on social media is not going to move the needle.
And that's the thing,
at all,
isn't it?
Because that thing goes back thousands of years.
I
That's
know.
not really having a political opinion. It's like, guys, this is not a new, like, yeah.
This is where I get confused as well, because it doesn't matter. You're exactly right. It doesn't matter. Like, I could educate myself as much as I possibly could on that one particular issue. And apart from this conversation that we're having, that serves absolutely no value. Like, it means I can riff with you. I can hopefully give you some other perspectives and vice versa, other thoughts. It makes me look good. It might just like tick that curiosity box and that intrigue box that I want to tick. But apart from that, like, it literally will solve absolutely nothing between that tension. And that's where I get torn between, like, all right, what's the benefit to knowing this and what's the benefit to completely ignoring it? And so often the benefit to completely ignoring it seems to outweigh the other. And
I've had to like deliberately stop myself from seeking out updates on what's happening over there. I'm just like, now I know it's happening. I feel like I've got a surface level understanding, which I feel like, okay, cool. And that's it. I'm not going to be, looking up every day what the latest update is, because it's not healthy for me, and it doesn't. I've got other things I need to think about.
You got a whiskey bar to run. Got a whiskey bar to run,
and a 7-month-old daughter, and an amazing wife. It's like, I don't need these distractions. Focus on my little tribe and community, and keep being better at that rather than trying to solve something that I can't.
Yeah, dude, how is your little tribe and community going?
Mate, it's been wild. So the bar's been open about 13 months now, which is crazy. I think last time we spoke, I didn't even have Stevie yet, my little daughter. No.
I mean, last time on the podcast that was. I mean, you had it last week when I saw you at the comedy show, but
yeah, that's it. So it's going great guns, man. Like it's been an incredible 12 months. So, the same day we signed the lease for the venue, we found out we're pregnant with Stevie, and now she's here as well. So, sleep's overrated. I think that's been one of the funnest things to try and negotiate between having a bar that often, last night, for example, it's a Wednesday night, midweek. Got out of the bar by about 12, home about 12:15. By the time you wind down, it's, 1:30. And I was lucky enough, I was asleep enough, and Kate's doing an amazing job as a mum, that when Stevie woke up at 5 a.m, I didn't even notice.
Oh, dude, thank God for that.
There's been a couple, 3 a.m. wake-ups where I have woken up as well and everything. But we just, we've found a new flow. Like, people talk about alternate lifestyles. I'm like, cool. It's a Twitter bio, but try having, like, actual, like, alternate lifestyle. Like, I don't start work till 2 p.m. So, whereas most dads get home and they get to see the kids and have dinner and watch TV and all that, we don't get that. But we get the mornings together. We get to, sit up in bed after she's had a feed and play and muck around, and I'll try and put her to sleep, but I don't have boobs, so I can't do much there. It's always nice to try. Every now and again, I'll try and put Stevie down to sleep, and you go, I got this, and then she just wakes up and is like, who the fuck are you? You're not mum. Like,
we were laughing yesterday. Shit. One of the guys at the local gym here in Queenscliff, his wife just gave birth to their little boy last Friday, and he's still nursing a couple of man boobs. He's getting back into some gym workouts. And he goes to me, be honest, did you ever try and feed Charlie? I go, I got photos to prove it. I got photos of him fully latched that I sent to my friends that my wife was really upset with me for doing. And but dude, it's right. Like, they get the message pretty quick. There's not much coming out of there. It's so funny, man.
It was like actually just this morning, I think it was the first time I was sitting up in bed holding Stevie, wasn't wearing a shirt, and she noticed my nipples for the first time and kind of like gave it a scratch and kind of looked at me just like, are you kidding? You're a disappointment. Actually, that's what it was. It was the first time she's been disappointed in me. Won't be the last. Sorry, kid.
Man, how are you guys going with it? It's such I'm trying to remember, like, I reckon me and Jesse were more bicker at each other with Ollie, because it was just like, then I felt like from 0 to 1 kid was intense, as you know all about. And then from 1 to 2 kids, I was like, holy shit. Like, this is, because you don't go from 1 to 2, you go from 1 to, it feels 15.
Yeah.
But I still remember that first couple of weeks, I reckon, because my mindset around what my actual responsibility was when Charlie was first born, when we had the 1 kid, I was like, all right, I was doing a bit of teaching at the time, is what they call it. I was at a school getting paid to be there. I don't know how much teaching was going on, which is, that's a whole nother podcast, but I had 2 weeks of paternity leave, and I was like, oh, great, this is an opportunity for me just to work on relaxed running, and I'm there if Jesse needs me. And so I took that attitude into like stay-at-home dad life for the first couple of weeks. And man, that's just a recipe for butting heads. Like I reckon me and Jessie that first couple of weeks, she was like, "Oh, you're an asshole," and I was like, "I think you're right, but I'm going to fight back at that point because it's hard to swallow." And so the lack of sleep, just the new learnings, the crying, like the constant, it's just endless. And then just trying to have any time for the things that your whole life had been revolving around up until that new little kid came in is like a recipe for disaster. But I mean, some people, I don't know, you seem to be holding it together pretty well.
Yeah, I think Kate and I, even before the business, communicate really well. We're both very similar communication styles. We can both be very stubborn, but we're good in calling out or even just asking the question like, "Hey, you all good?" Yeah. And then another question that we ask regularly is, "Are we all good?" And then that's usually followed up with whatever the answer is. Be like, "No, oh look, this was just a bit annoying. Can you please just make the bed in the morning, babe?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fair call.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely dropped the ball on that." Or, it's like, "Nah, we're fine. I'm just cooked." Well, okay, no worries. But if I'm cooked, sort of 3-4 days in a row, it's, all right. And we ask each other, whoever's what, and it's like, what can I do to help? It's that approach of, hey, I want you to be winning. You want me to be winning. What can I do to help set you up for the day? And I think that's where, like, again, we're lucky because we start our day together. We're both pretty rusty in the morning and bleary-eyed and, figuring it out. But as we, we go through, okay, what do you got on today? Oh, I've got this and this. Okay. And then the next question we usually ask is, what can I do to help? And most of the time it's like, no, happy days, all good. Sometimes like Kate's like, do you want me to bring you down dinner? If it's a day at the bar that I'm working by myself all day, I'm like, actually, that would be super helpful. That'd be super helpful. And she's like, hey, do you mind just doing the vacuuming in the bins before you head off? Like 100%. Don't always get it right. Sometimes I'll get to the bar and be like, shit, I forgot. So you get distracted. Right. But then, it's we don't take it as anything that is personal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think, we very much always, and I had to improve this when we started the bar, because I definitely, in one sense, I'm like, no, this is an us project, starting this business together. But I'm doing the majority of it, building it, running it. I'm the one that's there, running it and on the day to day and everything. And I got caught out a couple of times without even thinking. I'd say me and I wouldn't use, talk about inclusive language. I had to get better. And it's one of those cases where the change in language shifted my perspective and approach and behavior, is by continually reminding myself, no, this is our bar, this is our project, it's us. Help me be more considerate of Kate and including Kate in things. Like, little example, a photographer reached out from a local paper to want to do an article on it. And again, we've got Stevie at this time. We didn't have Stevie yet. I'm like, oh yeah, I could just pop down at this time tomorrow, and organised it. And was like, oh shit, can Kate make it? Oh, yeah, because it's a photo shoot about our bar, and I've just gone ahead and just organised it with just me. It's like, she'll probably want to be there. Shit. Hey, babe, so I definitely just went ahead and organised this with just me, because went ahead and went as if it was just, I'm the only one doing this business, but it's our business. So, sorry, are you free at this time tomorrow? She's like, yes, I am. I'm like, okay, cool. But it's not like, if I hadn't have done that and then this article comes out, it would have been like, wait, when did you do this? Oh yeah, it's all about me. It's like, oh shit. But it's the same with the parenting side of things as well. Like, she's doing majority of the work, 100%. But if I go, oh, that's your job, is the kid, my job is the bar, all of a sudden you're sitting at opposite ends of the metaphorical house, not talking to each other, not helping each other, not able to read when, not being aware, when Stevie's been cracking the shits and Kate's going to be cooked. All right, so now I need to step up. Or when I've had, a rough couple of days at the bar for a million different reasons that can happen. And then Kate's like, hey, what can I do to help you? Because I know you're going to be more tired there. So I think it's just being open. And then, we are very deliberate in just going, hey, just a heads up, I'm grumpy, not at you. Just need to go do this.
That's a good tip.
Sweet.
That's a good tip.
Just flagging it.
Yeah, I need to do more of that because I'll wake up and I'll be grumpy, and when I go grumpy, I go quiet. I'm like, I can't be bothered talking.
Yeah.
Jesse reckons I just turn into an absolute idiot. Like if I'm grumpy, my communication just goes out the window. Like my interest in trying to express how I actually am feeling.
Yeah.
I'm just like, whatever, figure it out. Like you'll understand. I'm pissed off soon, and it's just it's a recipe for disaster because so often she'll be like, is it me? I'm like, and. When I'm grumpy, I'll be like, that could be. It may be. Like, it might be you.
That's a dick move.
You know what I mean? Oh, bro, that's only one of a bag full of dick moves that I've got. But thank God I got a patient. I got a bag of dicks.
Cool.
I collected them from all the bombs at comedy shows over the recent months.
Oh, no.
I couldn't eat them all. Yeah, so no, it's actually true. It does take humility. Like even this morning, this is one thing that Jesse's good at. So we've started to try and ironically, so I'm using Google Calendar on my phone because I used to until 6 months ago, I was just using a journal, and I was like, that's just how I organize my week.
Yeah.
But it just was such a waste of time. Jesse never saw it, so I was like, all right, let's get like a joint diary there. I'll put in all my commitments, you put in all your commitments, and then we'll see any clashes. But then, like, there's always one of us who forgets to double check the diary before we make a booking. And so, like, I reckon our most consistent argument is like, oh, you're doing another podcast. What do you mean I have to let Ollie sleep in the car so you can go talk to Brendo? And this seems like an incredibly fresh example. And maybe because it is.
Sorry.
Dude, no, it's my own dumb fault.
Well, that's one of the things that Kate and I joke about regularly. And it's usually, you know, on a Saturday or a Sunday morning when there's a lot going on, as well as the bar. It's like relationships are 80% talking logistics. Like majority of conversation is discussing logistics, especially this time of year, Christmas coming up. Like forget like communication being, you know, an important thing in a relationship. No. If you can't talk logistics and organize your way out of a paper bag as a couple, you're guaranteed for a little bit of trouble. May not be like, you know, breakup level, but organizing the logistics is always going to be a challenge because it's you have to talk practicality and okay, we've got this, we've got that. And then, you know, one of the recent ones that we're done trying to, you know, plan Christmas and New Year's and everything, because we've got birthdays, we've got family at opposite ends of the planet, is we've had to kind of go to family, hey, we're not going to be there at this time. Like we're going to be just here at home. Because last year we tried doing everything and it killed us, especially with the bar and the hours there, is protecting our personal space and time as well. It has been a massive one. Again, just protecting that energy that we've got because it is so limited, and realizing that when we keep putting out too much that we're useless.
Yeah, man, it sounds like you've got things flowing nicely. Like I got a little update last week when we caught up, but in terms of the bar running, like the last 12 months, it's you got some structures in place that seem to be making it work really nicely. It's obviously going well from all I can see and from what I've heard.
Yeah, it's kind of got to, like, it's always been sustainable, and like, you know, without going into too many of the details, like the bar's running financially well enough. We've got wages at a really good percentage, you know, compared to the industry, and that includes paying myself a wage from the business as well in our first year, and it's going well enough that we're like, oh sweet, this is a good thing. Like, and the stage it's at now is, you know, we've got great staff that I cannot be there. Like, I think it just works out the next 3 Saturdays I'm not even there. It's our busiest day of the week. And don't get me wrong, stressed is a very strong word. Like, I'm always aware when I'm not there on a busy day, just because, you know, there's a couple of arseholes or problem customers. I like to be the one that deals with it so my team doesn't cop the flack. But they're capable, so I've got to trust them and just let them do that. But it's running at a level where I don't have to be there 24/7. So I'm able to work. And this is one of the, you know, another business owner in town mentioned to me is like, you know, as business owners, we need to be working on the business, not always in the business. And I think that's one of the catch-22s of the structure of our business. It's for those listening. It's a small bar, about a 30-person capacity in the middle of Healesville Main Street. We don't do food. It's just beers, whiskey, wine, cocktails, good times. But because of the setup, it's like last night was a Wednesday, and I worked it by myself the whole day from 3 till 12 at night. And that's fine. Like, I'm tired, but it's doable. It's doable, and it was a fairly busy day. You know, Fridays and Thursdays, Saturdays, I've got extra staff members on, and the most people we ever have on a Saturday is 3 people. So we can scale it either way depending on how busy. And now that we've got the flow of when the peak days are and everything that's really helped to that consistency piece that you're mentioning there. And now we can kind of just focusing on, okay, cool. What's next? How do we now grow the business and improve the business as opposed to just, first year was definitely just holding on and going, okay, let's, we've got no data to go off. Like, what's next weekend going to be like? I thought that long weekends would be busy.
Yeah.
No, they suck. In Healesville, yeah, like cup weekend. We had one of our worst Saturdays ever. I wouldn't have picked that. So it's been a really good year of learning where those, like our best day ever and our best week ever was middle of winter. It wasn't school holidays. It was just a normal midterm week. And it was terrible weather and it wasn't a long weekend. And it was best weekend ever out of nowhere. It was stupid.
Yeah. So where do you even start? Because I think Sammy, my brother-in-law, is an arborist, and he talks about his bookwork, his wages, his insurance, his whatever else you have to cover in America. And it sounds like he's been doing it on his own now for probably like coming on 8 years. Yeah. And so he's got himself into a real sweet flow, like a real sweet rhythm with what's required. But still, every now and then, like when I spend time with him, you'll see he'll bump into a little bit of a headache. Where do you even start when you're organizing this? Like, how do you even know what questions to ask at the very beginning?
Like starting the business?
Yeah, like when you step foot in that whiskey bar, like, all right, this is ours. We've renovated it. We're good to go. We start on Wednesday. Like, I would be so confused. You're a lot better at admin than me, and we learned that through a history of working together. But
and I'm shit at it.
I had to ask you. I found out what BPay was yesterday. No shit. Jessie was like, babe, just BPay it. I was like, I don't have that. I was like, where do you download it? And she's like, you're actually an idiot. Like, I go, okay, well, just show me how to do it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to edit that part out.
Where do you start? Like, I definitely had ideas. As I just touched on, like, admin isn't my natural inclination either. Like,
that's humbling.
Always mentioned it's a learnt behavior for me, and I hate it. And I have to build in time to do it. So, like, Tuesday every fortnight's our pay run, and now Kate and I both go, all right, we're going to do it in the morning while Stevie sleeps. Yes, done. Okay. Because if we don't do that, we'll both get distracted, and we'll get to like 10 o'clock at night and be like, shit, we're going to pay people.
Yeah.
The stakes are so much higher. Like, we stuff up. Like, staff don't get paid. We don't have staff. We don't open. But then even like the little admin, like updating the menu, like really good example last night. I had a customer come in and he's like, yeah, can I grab this beer? I'm like, yep. Go to the fridge. Not there. We've run out. That's on me. 3 in a row out of like 40 beers. He picked the 4 that weren't in there.
No.
And it's 100% all on me because I've neglected the beers in the fridge. I haven't gone through and done like a bingo card and ticked off. The whiskeys are all up to date, fine, but like it's those sorts of details that I have to. So yeah, and that's where my natural rhythm is, and where I got thrown off last week because somebody was away. Is Thursdays. Marky Mark, my main man, he'll be there. He can hold the fort. He can hold the room. He can run it. So I'll literally just sit there with my laptop. And it is my update the menu day. This is the time that I do it. And what I find is when I don't get to do it, I find out that the menu is completely out of whack, and customers get frustrated and I have to turn the charm on to try and make them happy again. So, but that's been learnt. I didn't start off the bar being able to do that, and that's where one of the biggest learnings. I kind of knew it, but now after 12 months, I'm like, your staffing and who you have is so important, if not the most important thing. One person once said a no hire is better than a bad hire. You're better off not to hire somebody than hire somebody bad. And that has rung so true that someone that you can just rely on and trust gives me the headspace and capacity to be able to focus on the details and the improvement of the business, especially with the bar. Because if there's customers sitting up at that bar top and it's just me, I can't do emails. Can't be like, oh no, I'll get your beer in a second. I need to respond to this supplier and pay this invoice. No, like you can't. Like you don't get to. But having somebody that can do that, I can catch up on emails, make sure everybody's paid, make sure everything's ordered. We've got 130 different whiskeys now. Like that's a couple of suppliers, and 40 odd beers, wines, other spirits. Like there's a lot to keep track of and on top of.
So who are most of the people coming through? Like, it sounds like you've got a few locals, but most of them...
85% locals still.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, majority locals.
I would have flipped that and thought that was what it was.
Same. When I opened, I thought it was going to be majority tourists, but no, it's regulars and local sort of regulars. So it means, when they come in, hey, John, plant a lager, done. Bob, Melbourne Bitter, here you go, done.
Oh, so they treat it.
Pot and a pint, done. Here you go. And it's, and I know this may sound silly to some and somewhat ironic for those that know me, but the bar has become a type of church.
Yep.
It's a gathering place for people, and there's many times, and I joke with the customers about this as well, it's very much a rogues gallery some days of just misfits. Like Healesville's such an eclectic place. Like you've got people that, are struggling with life and to make it by, and then you've got, the owner of one of the most expensive restaurants in the valley coming in and buying the $205 whiskey and having it with ice with his wife and hanging out. And he pays cash and he drives it. And he has, he's driving his Lamborghini and whatever. And you got him sitting next to somebody that's living off government at the same time. Like I said earlier, the whiskey doesn't care who you are or what your beliefs are. It just wants you to sit down and have a good time. And so the bar has become this sort of like rogues gallery of just misfits and randoms that can come and shoot the shit and have fun and feel welcome and people that probably would never sit in a church and have somebody that they can, as Kate jokes, I've kind of become an unofficial pastor again. Just the conversations I have with some customers, it's like I feel myself slipping back into that groove of just encouraging people and just making them feel welcome and making them smile. And sometimes the alcohol helps with that, but hey, Jesus was called a drunken and a glutton, so his first miracle was water into wine, and it wasn't just any wine; it was fucking good wine.
It's so funny you say it. It's so true. Like you can see that because the idea, I mean, to use church as a little pinpoint for this conversation. Like the idea is, like, not everyone's going to be comfortable. Like, you get my dad walking into a church, he's going to go, fuck this. Like, I don't care about the songs. I don't really like the people. The talking's weird. My dad going into your whiskey bar and meeting you, and just being like, hey, you seem like a good bloke. I mean, there's something in that. It is so interesting. Like, one of my good mates, I actually met him at our church here, The Wave. He's that kind of guy. Like, he's the kind of guy you want on your side. Yeah. When you hear someone, you go, I'm a homeschooler. You have this preconceived idea of what that means. Like, or a
Steiner kid.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. If you meet this bloke and he goes, I'm a Christian, you go, wait, what? How like, you're making eye contact with me. Yeah. This is a very strange experience.
Well, imagine if, churches were as accepting and welcoming as pubs.
Well, bro, here's the thing. Nick, the guy I was just telling you about, he said to me, because I was telling him about that during COVID, I was going to those underground comedy shows. Yes. And ironically, the bloke who was running those underground comedy shows recently become a Christian. Nick goes, man, it trips me out that it was the comedy world. Like, how was it the comedy world who were running underground shows and the church was closing down, checking vaccine passports? 100%. Like, obviously there's exceptions, but he goes, man, if we go back again, me and you, the unofficial pastors, and we'll just get the thing rolling again. Because you're 100% right, man. Like, it's
it gets so caught up. Oh, but alcohol's bad, and it makes people do this. Like, but some of the most horrific stories of people being treated that I've heard and seen, and personally, it has been church people. Like, I think, if anything, the last 10 years of all the different pastors that have put on the brave face and judged others, and everything turned out to be cretins themselves. It's like, well, come on. It's almost a spiritual version of still wearing a mask outdoors by yourself.
It's so true.
We don't need to do that anymore. Come on.
Sometimes the foundation of the bad stories of alcohol actually turned out to be great relationship builders. Don't you know that I vomited all through your wife's bed, and that was what started our friendship?
Without her in it. She was not there, and I did not know her at that point. But yes.
Yep, I was doing my best to get her in it, but my wife wouldn't have a bar of it.
Moral of this story, ladies and gentlemen, is don't drink bootleg bourbon that some random that you don't know has made.
Especially when you're trying to keep up with Brendan Cavanagh.
It's an occupational hazard. I have to be able to drink.
You just lay in the ground for it. No, it's a very good point. It is funny. Like, it is such a religious attitude that alcohol's bad. There's nothing that good that can come from it. Thank
if I was
God.
ever you go.
No, you go, bro. I keep interrupting
If I was
you.
ever to write a Christian book, it would be probably called Drunk and a Glutton.
Yeah.
And just unpack that side of the stories of Jesus, of him hanging out with former prostitutes, tax collectors, and just drinking and eating with them. And I'm assuming when those two things happen, stories happen, relationships happen. That's been my experience with the bar for the last 12 months. And probably the thing that's blown me away the most is how much the community has accepted the bar, but two, the relationships and the stories that have come from the bar and the conversations across the bar. Just that, bartender's a pseudo pastor. Like it's like hairdressers, same thing. Like, it's been really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. Like I don't know who I heard this from, but apparently guys operate best like in a conversation when they've got something like a middleman to talk about. Like, so you could be out shooting basketball and just having a chat, and you realize, far out, exactly. Ironically, like, it's such a popular man sport. It's no surprise. Like you walk along, it's not gay if you're just hanging out with your mates talking about the struggles with your wife. If you're hitting a ball, I noticed the exact same thing when I was up at Healesville with my mate a few months ago, and you had that spicy gin or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, does that as a conversation starter, like you get some hot blood in the sense that it's a spicy drink.
Everyone on the same playing field.
Correct.
Because the whiskey doesn't care.
Yep. It's so good.
Not judging you. It's not asking how you voted.
No.
Just wants you to relax and smile and have a good time.
Yeah, man. Even lets black people drink it. No, that's not funny. You can't be saying that in 2023.
But not people who wear a mask indoors.
No, exactly right.
Because I've got to take the mask off, people. That's the reason for the joke. Come on. Oh, no.
Man, hey, everyone. Hey, listen. I know there's some sensitive people out. That was a funny joke.
It's a joke.
As a funny joke. I should have replaced it with Asians. No, it's anyway. Far out. I'm bombing. Anyway.
That's so good. You can't resist it. Dude,
before I go, I didn't see your message back. I put you in a group the other day to get you on board at comedy. So
no, it didn't come through.
Oh, so have you got two Instagram accounts? YouTube? No. Sorry, wait. Let me just get my breath. Facebook Messenger account.
There's an old Facebook Messenger that
is that your
hacked.
face?
No, it got hacked, and I haven't been able to get access back because it sends a confirmation email to an email that's not my email and a number that's not my number. So what does your current profile picture look like? Because I'm going to add you to a group. Is it your whiskey bar, the Cav Whiskey Bar? Yep. There it is. Yeah.
Dude, what is that book?
Cool little book that Kate made up for our first birthday at Cavs, but also so it's got all photos of the build, but also it was a celebration that we hit 100 5-star Google reviews.
Oh, dude!
Yeah, so we've only had one 4-star review
Who
in
was
12
that
months, which
asshole?
we're pretty proud of. It's a guy that actually was selling laced marijuana out the front of our venue, and I had to tell him that he can't do that and he needs to go. So he left a 4-star review.
Quite good.
And he said he had a great time. Just trying to sell weed out the front of my shop isn't how I roll, pun intended. So he left me a 4-star review, which was the only one.
That's kind of respectful. I actually respect him more for it.
Still bugs me though. I'd rather a perfect score, but we're now very lucky.
Nah, it's awesome, brother. It's good. We have to make the trek back up there soon. I think I'm one of those 5-star reviewers. If I'm not, I'm going to jump on board and just double check. I might even just break I might even give you. No, that's a silly joke. I'm going to keep it at 5. Bro, that's so fun as always. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, mate, great chatting as always.
All right, fun. I'll leave you to it. See you, man.
Thanks,
See you, everyone.
Bye.